My SIL told my daughter, either she goes or I do, after I helped raise their kids while they traveled the world. My daughter sent me a one-line text, "Don't come back." I sat on the bus with my suitcase and a birthday card I never gave them. The next morning, I made a call that changed everything. I'm a 63-year-old woman. I've lived in Spokane, Washington almost my whole life. My late husband, Mike, passed from a heart attack 16 years ago. Since then, my world has been my daughter, Jessica, and her kids, my grandkids. I was the one who stepped in when Jessica and her husband Aaron needed help. From the time their first child was born, I was there. Changed diapers. Did midnight feedings when Jessica was too tired or Aaron was too busy. I cooked, cleaned, stayed weekends, even slept in that tiny guest room more nights than I can count. At first, it was just help here and there. But when Aaron got promoted and started traveling internationally, Jessica followed. Italy, France, Bali, New Zealand, they went everywhere. And who stayed back? Who raised those kids while they lived their dream? Me. They'd leave for 4, 5, even 6 weeks at a time. I put my life on pause. I dropped everything to be the full-time grandma nanny housekeeper for free. I loved my grandkids. I still do. And they loved me back. I was their safe place. They ran to me when they were scared. Called for me in the middle of the night. I never once said no, even when my knees ached, or my heart did. But there was one person who hated every second of it. Aaron's sister, Melanie. Melanie's one of those people who always needs to feel important. She never married. No kids. Worked a few jobs but nothing stuck. Moved in and out of town like she couldn't decide where she belonged. Every time she came around, I could feel her watching me. Judging. I never said a bad word to her. I smiled. I stayed polite. But the more time I spent with the kids, the more bitter she got. She started saying little things. "Oh, you're still here? Didn't realize you lived here now. Let me guess, another homemade meal? Trying to show me up?" I ignored it. I figured she'd get over herself. I was wrong. One day after Jessica and Aaron got back from their trip to Japan, Melanie came to visit. She stayed longer than usual. Sat at the table with her arms crossed, just watching me. I served dinner like always. Jessica had her glass of wine, Aaron was glued to his phone, the kids were laughing at something on TV. Melanie made a face when I walked past her. Then she said, loud enough for me to hear, "She just won't leave, huh?" I froze. I looked to Jessica. She looked down. Didn't say a word. Aaron didn't even notice. I didn't say anything that night. But something shifted. 2 days later, I was making breakfast for the kids, pancakes with blueberries, their favorite. When I heard voices in the garage. The door was cracked just enough. Melanie's voice, "I'm not coming around if she's still here. It's weird. She's too involved." Jessica said, "I know. Melanie, she needs to go. It's her or me." Jessica didn't defend me. She didn't say anything. That night, after the kids were asleep, I packed my suitcase. I didn't cry. I didn't make noise. I left their birthday card on the kitchen counter for my grandson, then changed my mind and took it with me. At 6:15 a.m. I caught the bus back to my tiny apartment in the valley. No one came out to see me off. At 7:02 a.m., my phone buzzed. It was Jessica. Just one line, "Don't come back." "No thank you." "No, we'll talk later." Just that. I sat there, on the bus, holding my phone like it might burn me. The card I'd bought him was still in my bag. It said, "To my favorite little guy, love you to the moon." I never gave it to him. That moment broke something in me. It was like being erased. Like everything I did meant nothing. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat in the dark with my suitcase at the foot of the bed. The next morning, I picked up the phone and called someone I hadn't spoken to in 15 years. My sister, Debbie. We'd had a falling out after Mike died. Old stuff. Pride. Misunderstandings. She moved to Missoula, Montana. We hadn't spoken since my grandson was born. She picked up on the second ring. Marianne? Her voice cracked. Is that really you? And I told her everything. The trips. The kids. The ungrateful daughter. The text. The bus ride. The birthday card I didn't give. I don't know why I told her. Maybe because I needed someone to remind me I wasn't crazy. She said, "You come here. You stay with me for a while. And we fix this." I thought she meant fixing us. But no. She meant something else. She meant taking everything I gave, and making them regret ever throwing it away. Debbie picked me up 2 days later from the Spokane bus station. I hadn't seen her in over a decade, but when she stepped out of her old blue Subaru and opened her arms, I broke. I cried in the parking lot like I was 5 years old again. She held me like she'd been waiting for it all these years. We didn't talk much during the drive to Missoula. I stared out the window. My mind kept drifting back to that one-line text, "Don't come back." It played in my head like a broken record. Debbie gave me the guest room. Small, but clean. She even put out towels and a small basket of toiletries. No one had taken care of me like that in years. That night, we sat at her kitchen table drinking coffee. I told her everything, in detail. Every diaper. Every lunchbox note. Every missed Christmas party with my friends. Every time I bit my tongue when Jessica snapped at me for folding towels the wrong way. Debbie listened without interrupting. When I was done, she leaned back and said, "They used you. And they'll keep doing it unless you show them who you really are." I didn't know what that meant yet. But I didn't stop her when she picked up her phone. She called someone named Valerie. "Remember how we always said we'd make a damn good private nanny service if we had the guts?" Debbie said into the phone. "Well, I have a client. And I want to shake things up." I raised my eyebrows. After she hung up, she smiled. "You're gonna start getting paid," she said. "And I'm gonna help you get your life back." Turns out Valerie ran a nanny placement business out of Bozeman. High-end families. Real money. Word traveled fast. Debbie helped write up my resume, and within days, I had 3 interview offers. One of them was from a single dad in Helena with 2 kids and a live-out position. He called me Ms. Marianne and treated me with respect from the first phone call. And for the first time in years, I felt seen. While I started fresh, I stayed quiet. I didn't block Jessica. I wanted her to see what she threw away. And then the calls started. First, a missed call from an unknown number. Then a voicemail. "Hi Mom. It's Jessica. I heard you're in Montana. Just wanted to talk. Call me when you can." I didn't call her back. 3 days later, a longer message. "Mom. I don't know what Melanie said to you, but things have been really stressful. The kids miss you. We all do. Please, let's just talk." That night, I looked at my phone for almost an hour. Then I put it in a drawer. I wasn't ready. The next twist came from Melanie. One afternoon, I got an email. No subject. Just a name, Melanie Wright 31 at. I opened it. It was short. "You've made a mess. Jess is falling apart. Hope you're happy." That was it. No apology. No explanation. Just blame. That same week, Debbie came home with a folder. Inside were printouts, screenshots, emails. "Thought you'd want to see this," she said. Turns out Melanie had been telling people from church, people from their kids' school, that I demanded to stay in their home. That I was jealous of her relationship with the kids. She'd been rewriting the whole story. But it backfired. Debbie had a friend, Janice, who lived near Jessica's neighborhood. She heard the rumors and reached out. Janice knew the truth. And she started talking. Other parents had seen what I did. They remembered me at the PTA meetings. At every bake sale. At every doctor's visit. And now they were confused why I was suddenly gone. The story Melanie tried to spin was starting to unravel. Meanwhile, the kids? Debbie found their social media pages. My granddaughter posted an old photo of us. Captioned, "Miss you, Grandma. Wish we could talk." My chest tightened. I wanted to call her. But I didn't. Not yet. And then, the biggest twist of all. One morning I checked my email. It was from Aaron. He never emailed me. Ever. It was long. Too long to quote here, but the gist? He said he didn't know what really happened. That he'd been told I left on my own. That I was tired and didn't want the responsibility anymore. That Melanie had stepped in to help and offered to take over. He sounded unsure. Like things were starting to click in his head. At the very end of his message, he wrote, "If I got it wrong, I'm sorry. Please just tell me the truth." That's when I knew. They were starting to realize they picked the wrong person to trust. They traded loyalty for convenience. They pushed out the one person who gave them everything. And they were finally about to pay for it. After I read Aaron's email, I just sat there, staring at the screen. My hands were shaking. Not because I was nervous, but because part of me had waited for this moment. That quiet space where someone finally starts to wonder if maybe, just maybe, they've been fed lies. I didn't respond right away. I wanted him to sit in that silence. Let him feel the weight of it. That same night, Debbie walked into the kitchen holding her iPad. "You need to see this," she said. She turned the screen toward me. It was a local parenting group Facebook post. Jessica's name was tagged in the comments. A mom from their school had asked a simple question, "Anyone know a good sitter? We're desperate." Someone replied, "Jessica's mom used to help before she disappeared. She was amazing with the kids." Then a comment under that, "Didn't she get pushed out by the sister-in-law?" That whole thing was weird. More replies followed. Speculating. Questioning. People were starting to put the pieces together. I wasn't forgotten. But what hit hardest was this comment, "My son still talks about Marianne. Said she was the only one who listened to him when he was being bullied." I had to step outside after reading that. I walked down the street, breathing in the cold mountain air, trying not to fall apart. The next day, Jessica called. Not texted. Called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. "Mom, please. I don't know what's going on anymore. The kids are asking questions. I just want to talk." Her voice cracked at the end. But I still didn't call back. Not out of spite. Out of self-respect. I needed her to feel it. The loss. The guilt. The confusion. The exact thing she let me sit in, alone, that morning on the bus. But she didn't stop there. 2 days later, someone knocked on Debbie's front door. It was Jessica. She'd driven to Missoula. Debbie opened the door and stepped out before I could even get up from the table. I could hear their voices through the window. Jessica was crying. "I just want to see her." Debbie was calm, but firm. "You didn't want her. Now she doesn't owe you anything." Jessica looked down. She held something in her hands. Debbie stepped back inside, handed me a small envelope. Inside was the birthday card I'd left on their counter, the one I took back. My grandson had opened it and written something under my message. "I miss you. Every day." That one broke me. I didn't go outside. I didn't talk to her. Not yet. Because just when I thought things couldn't twist any further, they did. A week later, Debbie got a call from one of her friends who works at a nonprofit for abused and neglected children. You might want to know, she said, a woman named Melanie Wright tried applying here as a childcare consultant. Said she had experience helping her niece and nephew. They ran a background check. Nothing criminal. But they found old HR complaints from 2 jobs, both involving hostile behavior. The nonprofit passed on her. But that wasn't the twist. The twist was what Debbie's friend heard next, from someone who worked at the same school Jessica's kids go to. Apparently, Melanie had been picking them up from school a few times. But the school counselor got concerned when my grandson started acting out. He'd drawn a picture of his family, and when they asked where Grandma was, he said, "She's not allowed anymore." The counselor asked why. He said, "Aunt Melanie said Grandma broke the rules and got kicked out." That's when it hit me. Melanie wasn't just lying to adults. She was reprogramming those kids. Making sure they'd forget who I was. What I meant to them. She was erasing me. And that I couldn't let go. I wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. After I learned what Melanie told my grandkids, that I broke the rules and got kicked out, I stopped waiting. I wasn't going to let her twist their memories of me. Not after everything I gave. It was no longer about being forgiven. It was about setting the record straight. I called Jessica. She answered on the first ring. "Mom?" Her voice was small. Like she wasn't sure I'd actually called. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said, "We need to talk." Not about what you think happened. But about what really happened. And you're going to listen. She came back to Debbie's the next day. Sat across from me like a stranger. I laid it all out. How she let Melanie manipulate her. How she watched me carry her family and still treated me like I was disposable. How she erased me with a one-line text. She didn't interrupt. Just sat there crying, shoulders shaking, makeup running down her face. When I was done, I told her this: "You let someone like Melanie poison our family. You gave her the keys to my grandkids' hearts, and she locked me out." Then I handed her a folder. Inside was a list of names and phone numbers, parents from their school, teachers, even church friends. People who saw what I did for that family and started talking after I left. There were screenshots of Melanie's lies. Posts. Messages. Emails. "I'm not going to sue," I said. "But if you don't set the record straight, I'll make sure every single person in your community knows what she did. What you allowed." Jessica sobbed. She said she was sorry. Over and over. "I thought you were just tired," she whispered. "Melanie said you didn't want to do it anymore." "And you believed her," I said. "Because that was easier than standing up for me." She begged me to come home. To see the kids. To fix things. But I wasn't ready to forgive. Not yet. Instead, I gave her a condition. "I'll see them. But only if Melanie is out of their lives. No visits. No school pickups. No phone calls. She doesn't speak to them again, or I walk for good." Jessica hesitated. I saw the fear in her eyes. But then she nodded. "She's already caused enough damage." It wasn't just words either. The next day, Jessica sent an email to the school, the church, and every family in their network, clearing the air. She explained that I had raised the kids when she and Aaron traveled, and that I had never left by choice. She took full responsibility for letting Melanie twist the story. Then she called the counselor, and made sure my grandson knew the truth. She even let me FaceTime him that night. He cried when he saw me. "Grandma, where were you? I missed you so much." I smiled through the tears. "I missed you too, baby. But I'm here now." "And Melanie?" That's where the real karma hit. Word spread fast. The school banned her from pickup. The church quietly asked her not to come back. Parents avoided her at the grocery store. One mom even posted publicly, "Maybe don't throw out the grandma who raised your kids and lie about it." Just a thought. She tried applying to other nonprofits. My sister sent copies of the school counselor's report. About the false stories Melanie told the kids. No one wanted her. She burned every bridge. The last I heard, Melanie moved back to Oregon. Alone. No job. No contact with the kids. Jessica blocked her. As for me? I didn't move back in. I kept my job in Montana. The single dad in Helena treated me like gold. Paid me well. Respected my time. I started saving money for the first time in years. Took weekend trips with Debbie. Even joined a local book club. But I did visit my grandkids. One weekend every month, they came to see me. We baked cookies, played board games, watched old Disney movies. My grandson brought the birthday card to every visit. Said he kept it in his backpack so he could see it at school. One night, Jessica called me. "I know I can never undo what I let happen," she said. "But I hope someday you'll really forgive me." I didn't answer right away. But then I said, "You have a lot to rebuild. And I'm not going to do it for you." She said, "I know." That was enough. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't yelling or getting even. Sometimes, it's living well. Being remembered. And letting the people who threw you away sit in the quiet space where you used to be. I didn't come back to their house. They came back to me. And that's where I stayed. Strong. Respected. Whole.